What is going on, my Houston Texans family? Hope you all are having a blessed Monday. And oh, dear God, we got some breaking news. Not Houston Texans, though, but the Baltimore Ravens have released kicker Justin Tucker. Oh, my God. Am I getting old? Moving on to the Houston Texans, ladies and gentlemen. They will have an entirely new offense in 2025. Literally every offensive group was worked on in the offseason. From the O-line to the wide receiver room to the tight end room, running back room, hell, even the quarterback room got some fresh blood in it. With that being said, we're going to continue to discuss and talk about this new 2025 Houston Texan offense, which also features a new O-line coach, a new offensive coordinator. My name is Ruben Calvillo, and this is the 713 Houston Sportcast, where I drop daily Houston Texans content. So please make sure you guys are all following me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for the latest news, rumors, and updates. Let's go ahead and start with the most important part of this offense, the foundation, and that is the offensive line. Out goes five-time Pro Bowl left tackle Laramie Tunsil, Kenyon Green, Shaq Mason. In comes Cam Robinson, Trent Brown, Ed Ingram, Laken Tomlinson. And in the draft, in the second round, the Houston Texans selected Ariante Ursery, offensive tackle out of Minnesota. This offensive line will also have a new O-line coach, and that is Cole Popovich. Getting the promotion, he also got the title of run game coordinator. Speaking of the offensive line, we have a quote from D'Amico Ryans, and this was brought to us by Aaron Wilson regarding Ariante Ursery. He said he will start at tackle, and our vision is for him at tackle. Now, I don't think this quote means Ariante Ursery is one of your starting tackles. I don't think right out the bat he's better than Cam Robinson, and maybe he can compete with Blake Fisher at right tackle as Blake Fisher is entering year 2. But like our friend Cody Johnson said here, I still think playing on the inside, being a guard, is in play. If that's what Nick Caserio truly wants to do, put the best 5 O-linemen out there, you have to think the Texans will try to involve Ariante Ursery. But I think your starting offensive line goes Cam Robinson at left tackle. He's been a left tackle his entire career. Your left guard is going to be Titus Howard. And to be honest with you, I feel good about the left side. Your center, I want it to be Juice Scruggs. I could understand why you wanted to be Jared Patterson. Your right guard, I think it's between 3 people. Laken Tomlinson, who I don't think has ever played right guard. Ed Ingram, who has been a starting right guard the past 3 seasons for the Minnesota Vikings, but not good. And who we just talked about from our head coach D'Amico Ryans quote, Ariante Ursery. I think one of those 3 could be your starting right guard. If you were asking me who, I think it is Ed Ingram. And then your starting right tackle, I think it will be a competition between Ariante Ursery and Blake Fisher. But I think the Houston Texans give Blake Fisher the nod at right tackle to start week 1. That's what I think is the Houston Texans' projected starting offensive line in 2025. You let me know your comments down below. This was, let me ask you guys a question also. Is this offensive line on paper better than last year's? No. But knowing that last year was one of the worst performances from the O-line, where we saw C.J. Stroud, the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL, comparing that offensive line to what we do not know about this new offensive line, can we say that last year's was better? I can say no. I think this new O-line has potential, ladies and gentlemen, with a new offensive line coach in Cole Popovich, and also a new play caller in Nick Caley coming from the Los Angeles Rams and how they have operated. They find these offensive linemen in late rounds and they're starting right at the bat. I mean, I think they had a right or left tackle starting. He was a 5th round selection. But also, you think about the time that Cole Popovich spent with in New England as well as with Nick Caley. The shuffling of offensive linemen in New England, and still it was consistent. I have some hope for this offensive line, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to lie to you. Moving on to the running back room, I think the running back room is solid and they got a good addition. But my question is, who is the odd man out? I think it's Dare Agumbawale. I like what he's done for us the past couple of years, but Woody Marks, I think as soon as he steps into NRG, he gives you something more, at the pass catching, option. I think Woody Marks might also have some opportunities to, find it going on the ground. I love Dare, but we know he was not a threat when running the football. I do think Dameon Pierce still finds a way to be the Houston Texans' number 2 running back. I think Woody Marks is the Houston Texans' RB3. And if they want to keep Dare just because he could give you, something in special teams, something in 3rd down, as well as could kick a field goal if you need him to, then, hey, carry 4 RBs. But I think your top 3 are Joe Mixon coming off of a 1,000-yard season, 10 touchdowns. Joe Mixon, a captain of this offense, he's going to have a great year, ladies and gentlemen. Dameon Pierce, I wonder what he can give us. I know he is very, very useful and reliable in terms of kick returning. I like Dameon Pierce as the Houston Texans kick returner going forward in the future. Now, I know I said Woody Marks is your RB3, but I wouldn't mind seeing some competition between Woody Marks and Dameon Pierce for that RB2 spot. Your tight end group is pretty much the same besides your 7th round addition of Luke Lachey, tight end out of Iowa. I think Dalton Schultz is your starter. I think Cade Stover is your RB2. Your tight end 2. And coming off of an ACL, but maybe as the season goes on, we start seeing Brevin Jordan move from tight end 3 to tight end 2. I know a lot of fans are excited about Brevin Jordan, but like I've said many times before, don't let that 74-yard touchdown fool you. However, I'm intrigued what this tight end group can become under new OC Nick Caley, who in his first press conference with the Houston Texans let everyone know that he loves tight ends. I mean, he was around arguably one of the greatest tight ends of all time in Rob Gronkowski. And the Rams, say what you want, very respectable numbers for their tight ends. I think this group does take a step forward. They took 3 steps back last year after an impressive year from Dalton Schultz in year 1, which got him that 3-year, $30 million contract. It just didn't work out last season. Not going to call it quits after 1 year, but it's time to prove that you were worth that contract, Dalton. Your wide receiver room, this is where I get the most excited because I haven't felt this comfortable about the Texans wide receiver room in a while. And what I mean by comfortable, I mean in terms of we got bodies out there. You look at Nico Collins, you look at Christian Kirk, Justin Watson, Braxton Berrios, John Mechie, Xavier Hutchinson. That's 6 wide receivers right there. And then the 2 you added, a 2nd-round pick on Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State and a 3rd-round pick on Jalen Noel out of Iowa State. You know they're going to be very impactful in year 1. Could they be your number 2, number 3 wide receiver? I don't know, but it wouldn't shock me if they do. There is a lot of competition in this wide receiver room, ladies and gentlemen. The same way, last year's wide receiver room was a little bit different because we knew that Stephon Diggs was only going to be here for a short term, right? And he was just the cherry on top of your offseason. With the additions of Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins, you're like, okay, these could potentially be your wide receiver duo of the future. One of these guys is going to be your wide receiver one in about 8 seasons, depending on Nico Collins and how long he plays in the NFL. I like the future of this wide receiver group. And then you get to, of course, the quarterback room that was also worked on this offseason. Graham Mertz, quarterback out of Florida, selected in the 6th round. Texans trade up to get him. Then, of course, you got Davis Mills Mafia. What is his future with the Texans? I think it's coming to an end, but are they just going to flat out release him? Or are they going to just, have him here until his contract runs out? And I think he is a free agent after this year. Are the Texans trying to trade him? Like I mentioned, Kenyon Green and the 6th round pick were traded for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So maybe there's a other player maybe on the offensive line in the final year of his deal, for sure not being a part of the future of his team. Could there be a deal there? But then you got quarterback C.J. Stroud. Coming off of I'll say a down year or two. Because there was conversations of us like, what is going on with CJ? It was obvious the offensive line was affecting him. As early as week 2, Sunday night against the Chicago Bears. CJ Stroud, ladies and gentlemen, is going to show us, I think, the answer of whether or not he can take us there. He's going to show us this year. Because now, back-to-back 10 wins. Back-to-back AFC South champions. Back-to-back dominant home wins in round 1. But you have to get there. You have to get past there. You got to get your first ever division win in franchise history. Your first ever appearance in the AFC Championship. We're still searching for that, ladies and gentlemen. And I think CJ Stroud's going to answer that question this year. You guys let me know how you feel about this 2025 Houston Texan offense. Like I said, it was all worked on. All position groups got some new, fresh blood in. You guys let me know. For more Houston Texans content, you guys know what to do. Feel free and follow me. Go Houston. Have a very, very blessed day.